Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you'd like to see how I created this beautiful smoky look on my dark skin model, then keep on watching. You want to spray the face with a rose water. This is highly optional, but I always tell you guys what works for me. Then go ahead to use your moisturizer, use your primer, whatever works for you. But then always remember that your primer is what holds your makeup together and what gives you that smooth canvas to apply your product. Ensure that the primer you're using is one that is best for your skin type. If you use the wrong primer, your makeup will not last as long as you want it to. Now proceed to use your foundation. I'm using this dense foundation brush to apply the foundation all over the face. And then once you're done with this, you want to ensure that all the corners of the face are well covered. Ensure that all the corners of the hairline, the inner corners of the eye, the jawline are well covered with foundation. Now go on to use your beauty sponge to tap everything in. I'm using a concealer that is slightly about 3 shades lighter. Yes, I know I always say use 2 shades lighter, but then I really wanted to have a bright under eye. So yeah, and then I was confident that blending this into the foundation I used will give me the calm outcome that I'm looking for. I was very confident that it won't be looking too bright because she's very dark. So now blend out your concealer, blend it until it's very seamless. Do not leave your concealer half blended and go to do something else, because the concealer is going to dry up and it will make your finishing to be very rough. You want to be very detailed, and you want a situation whereby even when someone zooms into your work, they are very confident with the outcome of your work. Now I'm using a foundation to contour. Who says it has to be concealer? Who says it has to be bronzer? So yeah, I'm using a foundation that is about 2 shades darker than her complexion, and I'm using this to contour her cheeks and her nose as well. Once you're done with this, you want to go ahead to blend out immediately. If you're using the same beauty sponge, ensure you're using a clean part of the beauty sponge. If not, if you're a beginner and you feel you can't handle it, go ahead to get a different beauty sponge to do your blending, because if you mix everything together, it won't come out well. Rose water once again, just to give the blend that perfect moist finish. You don't want it to be looking too dry or cakey. Now this is a technique that works for me. I use a pressed powder first to set the under eye. For me, this makes a whole lot of difference. The under eye gets to be really matte, it gets to prepare the base for the setting powder. Most of the time, if you apply setting powder directly onto the under eye, it tends to be a bit too much. When you're blending out, it tends to be leaving these patches and all of that. So that is the reason why I use my pressed powder first before I put the setting powder. If you're wondering what I'm using, this particular concealer, sorry, my bad, this is not easy. This particular setting powder is by Pat McGrath, and remember, like always, I'll give you the details of everything in the description, so be sure to look out for it. Now I don't know why my camera was shaking, guys, but anyway, we move. So now over to the eyebrows. I typically would pick my eyebrow pencil color based off of the hair color, but then in some cases this doesn't apply, because some people have really dark hair and then it may just be too dark for their face. So yeah, what I do, I just use the person's complexion to determine. If the person is really dark, I go for the very dark brown or the ebony shades, and then if the person is medium complexion, I go for the brown or medium brown. It all depends on the brand you're using, because some medium browns do not exactly look medium brown. They may look either too lighter or they end up looking too dark. So it's very important that you ensure that the pencil you're using is one that complements the natural brow color. This is extremely important. So once you're done with outlining the boundaries of the brows, the next thing you want to do is to go ahead to give it a good blend, because you don't want the pencil strokes to be separated from the natural eyebrow hair. Now once you've done that, for me, I always spend most time on my brows, because I just want to ensure that everything is on point. The brows are pretty much the first thing people notice, apart from maybe foundation. Yeah, so take your time with the blending. Blend out any pencil strokes you see. You don't want it to be looking too harsh. Now I'm going in again with the same concealer that I used previously, and I'm using a flat brush to clean up the brows. This is one of the most important parts of the brow work. You want to ensure that this cleaning is neatly done. The lines are very straight. As you can see, I'm taking my time with this process. You have to ensure that everything is neatly done. A lot of people do a good brow outline, and then when it comes to the concealer, everything just goes haywire. Like, we don't want that to happen. So you have to make sure that if your model was speaking at this time, or your client, you tell them to please keep quiet so that you can just, do this part, and afterwards they can continue with the discussion. This is extremely important. As you can see, my model is all steady, all, just keeping her head the way it makes my job way easier for me. Like always, I like to use a foundation exactly her shade for the top of the brows, and also for the beginning of the brows. I just feel like this gives the brows this really natural finish that I feel like you can't just compromise. I mean, it may work different for other artists, but this is what works for me, and that is why I'm sharing with you my techniques. So ensure that you make sure that the beginning of the brows and the top of the brows have foundation, not concealer. Now I'm using this my good old MAC blush. I don't know, I love this blush so much. All the shades will be in the description, like I said. Use the blush to apply just slightly above your contour, and then just to give some color to the face. And then I'm using a gel liner as my primer for this look. But guess what? After I had applied the gel liner, I then realized that the eyeshadow that I intended to use already had something that could serve as a gel liner, which is the Huda Empowered. And then I was like, okay, maybe for the other eye I could go on to use the gel liner like stuff. I don't know what I would call it, an eyeshadow, but you will see what I'm talking about in just a bit. So yeah, at this point I realized I didn't need to have a different gel liner. I could actually use the same eyeshadow palette for the entire eye makeup look. So I had to go back to that particular color, which is this black you see me using right now. It's not an eyeshadow, it's just like a gel liner. So yeah, I thought to myself, instead of having to use a separate gel liner, I can as well use this one, prep the eyelid, and it was even giving me a more pigmented outcome, which I was definitely here for. I was loving. Now guess what? The eyeshadow color I'm using right now is not black, but because we already have a black base, it's making it look like it's black. I'm using a matte brown eyeshadow. This is very important to note. If you're doing a smoky look, you might want to use a matte brown eyeshadow, or a matte black eyeshadow, or a matte green eyeshadow, depending on the shade you're going for. But the point is that it should be matte if you're really trying to achieve this kind of outcome, because the shimmery ones may not give you that smoky effect that you're looking for. Now see the gel liner. You take the gel, I don't know if this is a gel liner, but let me just call it a gel liner for the sake of this tutorial. So when you use that particular gel, if you don't have this palette, go ahead to use your gel liner, your gel liner. Yeah, go ahead to use your gel liner if you don't have this particular eyeshadow palette. And then some people would ask me, what if I don't have a black gel liner? Trust me, then if you have a black eye primer, I know I have one from P. Louise. If you don't have a black eye primer, I'll be honest with you, using a normal white primer may just make the eyeshadow outcome to be too bright. It may make you have this gray finish. That is the reason why I would not advise you to use a white primer. If you have a transparent primer, that could work as well. So yeah, it's all up to you and what you have with you. So I'm using this brown color to, I think this is not even brown. Yeah, I'm using the brown color first to just apply on the crease, and then I'm going with the darker brown on top of the black gel liner. So apply this generously to ensure that you have every single part of the eyelid that had black well covered with this new brown color. ensure that you're doing this with a small eyeshadow brush so that it gives you control and you're more in charge of where you're placing the eyeshadow. Once you've done that, use a fluffy brush like this one I'm showing you to blend out the lines where the application stops. If you do not blend out the lines, your finishing is going to look extremely rough and you're not going to like the outcome. So ensure you give it a good blend, touch up any part that you feel does not look as smooth as it should look. I mean, it doesn't have to be 100%, but it could be 90, it could be 95. So yeah, take your time with this step, because if you miss it or your brush goes to the wrong spot, it's going to ruin the entire eyelid. So when you're doing a smoky look, the thing I will leave you with is to ensure that wherever your brush is touching is a spot that you want it to touch, because if it touches like where you have the concealer, it's going to ruin everything. So this is extremely important. I'm using the Adele lashes. The choice of lashes is entirely up to you. It's up to you what you're looking out for. I like my lashes to look not too natural, but at the same time I like my clients or my models to be extremely comfortable wearing the lashes. I don't like when the lashes are all over the place and we're barely understanding what is going on. You see how these lashes look? They don't look too much. At the same time, they don't look too simple. So that is typically my style. I mean, do you, whatever works for you. Now I'm going in again with the same black gel-like eyeshadow, and I'm using it to, you know, smoke out the bottom of the eyes. So this part you can go ahead to use just your pencil. If you don't want to use your pencil and you want to do exactly what I'm doing, you can as well go ahead and use the same gel-like stuff to line the bottom eyes. At this point, just ensure that the coverage is good, but then I felt like I needed to touch up more, and I'm using the Revlon eyeliner to just darken up the inner corners of the eyes. If you're going to use your mascara directly onto the client, be sure that it's a mascara that you most likely leave with the client, or you have something to clean the wand before you put it back, or as you can just go ahead to use a disposable one. It depends on what you want. I don't remember how I didn't film the part where I lined the lips, but I used a dark brown lip liner. Remember, dark brown shades are numerous. Ensure the dark brown is one that will be obvious on the person you're using it on. And I'm using a nude lipstick to apply right in the middle. What I'm doing right now is to ensure that there is a perfect blend between the lip liner and the lipstick. So if there's no perfect blend, the lip liner will be separated and it doesn't look good. So take your time with this process. If you apply, you can reduce the excess on your brush just to ensure that the cleaning and the blending is going as you plan. And I'm topping up with a lip gloss. The choice of the lip gloss color is totally up to you, but like I said, always I like to use a lip gloss that is not too bare, but at the same time doesn't change the color of what I already have going on. This varies from one person to another based on preference. So yeah, give it a good blend to ensure you can see how much time I'm spending here. You don't want any lines separating the brown from the nude. So at this point, our look is completed. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please don't forget to click the subscribe button below, and then comment on the kind of looks you want me to create. Do you want me to do more of these looks on my models where you get to learn an entire look on a different person, or do you want me to, you know, just come up with something? So tell me in the comments. I'm always there looking out for what you guys want from this channel, because it's all about you and I. It's not just about me. So at this point, I was still spending a lot of time to, you know, give the lips a perfect blend. I like to be very detailed. I don't like to rush my work. So take your time with this process, and then once you're done, go in with your pressed powder over again and use that to blend the setting powder out. I see a lot of people trying to blend setting powder with a dry brush with no product on. You're only stressing yourself. Make it easy by using your pressed powder. Now I'm going in again with Fenty Beauty powder to just touch up the rest of the face. You can use the same powder you used to blend out the under eye. It's all up to you. This was just what I wanted. Now I'm using the one size setting spray to, you know, spray all over the face. And once this is done, I'm going with my all-time fave, my Dior highlighter palette, and then I'm just going to, you know, highlight the cheeks for that extra glow. This is a must for me, guys. I mean, the color you're using for this should just complement your natural complexion. I had so much fun creating this look, guys, and I really do hope that you guys have learned a thing or two from today's tutorial. If you did, please do not forget to leave me that comment, give me that thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so, because that makes me motivated to keep bringing you guys these tutorials. And this was the end of the look. I don't remember if we did another look to just show the end of the whole thing, but yeah, you're already seeing the end. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already subscribed, please don't forget to do so and join the family. As always, I'll bring you guys new videos every week. Thank you for being here. I'll see you guys in my next video. Do have a good time. Bye bye.